Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Wednesday, the 9th of October 2024. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 closed up just a touch today to 8,187 points. The Buy Now, Pay Later groups led the way, with Zipco finishing 6% higher and Block up more than 4%. Mining stocks were among the worst performers. If you take a look at the large caps, the resource stocks fell, with BHP, Fortescue Metals Group, Rio Tinto, Santos and Woodside all down sharply. So too was Goodman Group. The banks were up a touch, while Brambles, REA, Aristocrat Leisure, WiseTech Global, Coles, Woolies and Telstra all did pretty well. Shares in APA Group, the owner of the South West Queensland Pipeline, rose 2.6% after the Australian Energy Regulator issued its draft findings that the benefits of subjecting the pipeline to full regulation on tariffs would not outweigh the increased costs involved. What's that mean? Well, there won't be tougher price regulation on the main pipeline that carries gas from Queensland to the south. That's raised hope of more supply in Victoria and New South Wales. Story number 2, billionaire Gina has scaled back plans for the country's next major iron ore mine as part of efforts to overcome concerns from environment regulators and native title custodians about heritage protection, vegetation clearing and carbon emissions. The Mulga Downs mine that Ms. Reinhardt's private companies plan to build in the Pilbara region will now produce 40% less iron ore than was expected 2 years ago, according to documents filed with the Western Australian government last week. The shrinking of the project comes after a year in which Ms. Reinhardt's companies have campaigned against the Albanese government's nature-positive reforms, which seeks to protect more habitat and biodiversity, according to a story in the Financial Review. Ms. Reinhardt had originally planned to clear 8,422 hectares of vegetation to build a mine at Mulga Downs, the vast pastoral property where she spent much of her childhood. It was supposed to be capable of producing 20 million tonnes of iron ore per year. New plans involve clearing about half that to produce 12 million tonnes a year. Story number 3, Nine is considering adding commercials to its Stan streaming platform now that CEO Mike Sneesby has gone. Sneesby, who formerly ran Stan and has never been a fan of ads on paid-for streaming services, departed the company last month, and media reports suggest Nine is now looking at the change. Netflix, Amazon, Prime Video, Paramount Plus and Binge all run ads and have tiered subscription packages. Stan, it's almost now the odd streamer out. Nine's share price is down 40% this year, and the ad market on free-to-air is challenging at best. Hence, you can probably expect to see ads on Stan at some point in the not-so-distant future. Story number 4, Labor-turned-independent Senator Fatima Payman has launched her new political party, and it's called Australia's Voice. The senator said it was more than a party, more of a movement for a fairer Australia. She said Labor had lost its way, and while no decisions have been made on who to stand in the upcoming election, she suggested the party may run a candidate in the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's electorate. Not a lot of meat around the policies, though Senator Payman said any member of Australia's Voice would be able to vote as they like on issues, i.e. a conscience vote. And story number 5, the Melbourne Rebels are suing Rugby Australia, claiming it was unfairly axed from the Super Rugby competition 5 months ago and has announced plans to re-enter the competition. The Rebels will be seeking more than $30 million in damages from the governing body, according to media reports. The Rebels are also seeking an urgent order in the federal court, granting it the right to inspect the books of Rugby Australia, including accounting and loan records, to determine whether there's been fiduciary and governance failures by the governing body. The Rebels entered voluntary administration on January 29 this year, with debts owed to creditors exceeding $23 million, including an $11.5 million debt to the tax office. The Rebels were also struggling to pay stadium fees, and directors have received penalty notices from the ATO. Administrator PwC said the club may have operated while insolvent for more than 5 years. Today, the Rebels claim that Rugby Australia has breached various sections of the Corporation Act, has unlawfully oppressed the Rebels, and is obliged to indemnify the Rebels for liabilities to the ATO. That's it for the afternoon report for Wednesday, the 9th of October 2024. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning with the Thursday edition of Fear and Greed Business News. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.